Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to change string trimmer line. Now realize that if you found this video, you're probably in a hurry and you want to get this figured out quick so you can get back to working. So I'm going to do my best to go as fast as possible while being as detailed as I can. Let's get into it. So I just ran out of line and I need to get this head off. First thing you're going to want to do is there's two tabs that hold this thing on. One right there and one right there. This area right here is big enough for your finger. So the idea is to push your finger in, loosen this side up, turn it around, push your finger in, loosen this side up, and this will come out. But before I take this out, I want to warn you that this piece right here, and I'll show you, it has a spring in it. And if you're out in the field and a lot of brush, you don't want to lose that spring because you're going to be in a big problem. You won't be able to use your trimmer anymore because the line won't come out. So when you take this out, always be careful to not drop the spring. Make sure it's in there, make sure you put it somewhere you'll remember. I always recommend to have another pack or spare springs laying around just in case you do lose it, because it does happen. So get the head off right here. This is the part with the spring in it that I'm talking about. And to get this part out, you just push in and twist it. And there's the spring. It does come out. So be very careful not to lose this thing. I'm in a shop. If I drop on the floor, no big deal. If I'm in the field, big deal. It's going to be difficult to see this in tall, thick grass. This is the string that I use. It's square Magnum Gator line. It's 100 thousandths. The reason I use this is because I cut a lot of thick, heavy brush, and I need something that's not going to continuously break, and it's not going to be deflecting while I'm cutting it. And this stuff holds up for a really long time. It's really durable. If you're edging driveways or edging fence lines and stuff, this works great. The reason I'm showing you the size of this line is because it matters, and your numbers may not match mine if your line is not as thick as mine is. What I meant by numbers is the number of wraps and the length of the line that I use. If your line's thinner, you'll use a longer amount of line and you can get more wraps. The reason that's important is because I know for my personal use, each one of these takes 18 wraps to be full. You don't want to overfill it. Under full, you're going to waste time because you're going to end up having to replace string more often. 18 wraps, or if you're pulling line from the bulk spool that I showed you, a good, quick, easy way for you to get the correct amount is to just do 2 full arm lengths like this. 1, 2, and then leave a little bit extra to hang out of your trimmer head. This will get you in the general vicinity. Like I said, if I use different size line than you, your numbers might be different, so it's something you have to experiment with, but this works for me. I'm gonna do this twice because I need 2 sections of line to go in the spool. Keep in mind, I'm doing this on camera, so I'm trying to stand out of the way so that you can see what's going on. Now that you've got your 2 sections of line cut, you can pick up your line holder, and you notice that there's arrows rotating that way. So there's arrows rotating that way, and if you look, there's 2 holes. Those holes are to hold your line. Now I have larger line, so it takes a little bit of effort to get it inside of the hole. But you line the square edge up, get it started, and I always try to press it all the way in there until it stops. So now that I pressed it in there until it stops, it's going to hold it in place. The arrows show you the direction that you need to rotate it. So I always hold my finger in between the 2 pieces to keep them from getting tangled up, and you just start rotating the line holder the direction of the arrows. And I'm going to do this until I run out of line, and then I'll show you the next step. Now that I've got this rolled up, and I'm not sure if you could tell, but I was pulling this as tight as I can and holding this as tight as I could. You want to keep this tight so that you can fit the line, as much line in there as you can. You don't want it loose and slack and rolling around, because then you end up with tangled up line, and that's just a disaster. So now that the line's rolled up, you know, there's notches, one right there and one on the other side. You just get your line, you push it in the notch, you get your other line, and I know it's hard to see, but I'm trying to keep everything from flinging everywhere. Put that in there like that. This one's already coming out. Hold your finger over it so it doesn't fly out. And there you go. So it's locked into these tabs. The next step is to put your spring back in and lock it in your head. So I got my spring pressed into the head. It's not terribly tight. You could easily knock it out if you tap it or something, but it stays in place good enough to get it back up in the trimmer. The spring goes in the center of this piece right here. Make sure you got your lines lined up with these on the head. I will mention these do fall out as well. I recommend to always have a spare pack sitting around just in case you lose one. But it's as simple as making sure the spring's in the center. Just like that. I heard it bounce up in there. You press and twist and make sure that it's lined up with that, and there you go. Now that you have the head locked in place, you get your line, you feed it up in here, and feed it up in here. This one didn't engage all the way, so there you go. So those are pulled up in there good. The next step is to get your cap, press it on, then you'll be good to go. So we've got our cap. You simply get it popped back into the grooves that we popped it out of earlier. You should hear a click when you get it engaged. Let's see if we hear a click. I heard one click, two clicks. You just want to make sure that the little tabs went in there and it's not going to come back out or anything. You also want to make sure your line's fully pressed up in there like that. This looks good. Make sure your line's even, and it is. You don't have to worry so much about this if you have a guard on, because they usually have a blade that'll keep the line the correct length. But I don't have a guard. You can research the reasons why. It may or may not be a good idea. I found that running without a guard works better for me. That's all there is to it, guys. If you were wondering what I used to cut the line today, I used a pair of side cutters. You can get away with using a pocket knife, a heavy duty pair of scissors, just about anything sharp. That stuff cuts pretty easy. I try to make this video as short as I could, because you don't need a 20-minute video to learn how to change trimmer line. Hope you guys got something out of it. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next one.